Hello all, given that this channel is about applying business concepts to gaming, the subject matter of today's video is a great fit. We are going to analyze the secondary market for new Xbox Series X and PS5 consoles on eBay. As you know, price is a function of demand relative to supply. When demand is high relative to supply, the price of a product tends to rise. The demand for next-gen consoles is currently in the tens of millions, given their installed bases, but Sony and Microsoft have probably only been able to manufacture a few million so far. Hence, the secondary market price of the next-gen consoles is significantly above the retail price of $500. So it appears at first glance that there are way more Sony consoles available than Microsoft ones. A caveat when reading this table is that I tried my best to remove fraudulent historical transactions, but I didn't attempt to remove fraudulent listings in this left column. I found that there are way more fraudulent listings in the case of PlayStation 5, so that 9,758 number is inflated. There probably are more legitimate listings for PS5 than Xbox Series X, but it's not as large of a difference as it appears to be from the data in this table. In the next column, I list transactions over about a 1-week period. The PlayStation 5 had about 7,000 transactions, the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition had about 1,000, the Xbox Series X had about 5,000. I didn't list it here, but the Xbox Series S had about 1,500 to 2,000 transactions, which surprised me to the upside. I would have guessed that the number of PS5 Digital and Xbox Series S sales was about even, so the strength in the Series S sales on eBay is an early indication that Microsoft's strategy with the Series S is going to be successful. Together, the number of Series X and S sales was about equal to the number of total PS5 sales. But when you add the PS5 Digital Edition sales, overall there were about 15 to 20% more next-gen PlayStation sales when compared to next-gen Xbox sales over the week I analyzed. However, the difference in the number of legitimate transactions is likely lower than this because I found that there are a lot of fraudulent listings and fake bidders in the case of PS5. I tried to adjust for this in the figures displayed, but I likely missed some. By itself, this clean data implies a market share in America of around 54% for Sony relative to Microsoft in the Gen 9 cycle so far. But when you factor in the greater number of fraudulent listings and fake bidding in the case of PS5, the market share is probably lower for Sony. There also just seems to be a disproportionate amount of scalper activity in the case of PlayStation, which makes sense since most people know that Sony outsold Microsoft 2-1 in the Gen 8 cycle. However, not a lot of people realize that in the United States, the market share splits was a lot closer than that. So my guess is the disproportionately greater scalper activity in the US in the case of PlayStation is partly to blame for the significantly higher price of PS5 consoles on eBay. The greater scalper activity for Sony could be creating a bigger frenzy, for lack of a better term. If the scalpers are coordinated, they could also artificially restrict the supply of PS5s on eBay to increase the price even further. The price differential between PS5 and the Xbox Series X is about $150 according to my analysis. The PS5 is going for about $1,000 and the Xbox Series X is going for about $850, all after shipping cost. Interestingly, there was only about a $15 price differential between the PS5 and the PS5 Digital Edition, even though the official retail price difference is $100. This implies that Sony may have been able to increase the price of the digital version to about $450 from $400. I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft's aggressive pricing for the Series S influenced Sony's price for the Digital Edition. So after controlling for the factors I just discussed, my guess is that the overall market share of Xbox and PlayStation for the Gen 9 cycle is actually about even in the United States when factoring in the PS5 Digital and the Xbox Series S. That is, unless Microsoft manufactured a significantly lower number of Xboxes than Sony did for the PS5. The market share in America right now is just based on who supplied more consoles since there is a massive shortage on both sides. I do think the price of the PS5 on eBay is inflated by disproportionately greater scalper activity and more fake bidding. However, despite that, I still think there is probably greater demand for PS5 in general, just given how large of a difference in price we are seeing on eBay. This isn't surprising since Sony has always had more market share in the US than Microsoft. Now let's quickly discuss methodology. I wrote a small computer program to download and organize the historical sales data on eBay. I looked at US transactions between 12 a.m. on December 3rd and 9 a.m. on December 10th. I only looked at new and unopened boxes, and I tried to remove pre-orders. I wrote an algorithm to filter out fraudulent listings. For example, a lot of the listings were only for an empty box or a picture of the console, yet the fixed price and starting prices were very high. There was also a significant amount of fake bidding that would inflate the auction price and result in the seller having to list the same item multiple times. I tried to adjust for this as well. Lastly, I added bundles to the transaction counts, but excluded them when calculating median prices. So I tried my best to catch the fraudulent listings, but obviously I missed some. The PS5 definitely had more fraudulent listings on an absolute and relative basis. It also had more fake bidding. In many cases, this is a vigilante consumer who purchases an item from a scalper, sometimes at a very high price like $10,000, but never pays. So this type of activity significantly increased the number of PS5 transactions in the database, since a seller would have to list the same items multiple times. I tried my best to filter out these transactions automatically, but it was difficult because there were thousands of transactions to look at. Given that I likely missed some, the differential in terms of price and transaction count between the PS5 and Xbox is likely inflated due to this. The PS5 also had more bundle deals, like when a game was included with the console, which further inflated its price relative to Xbox. The median price of the PS5 was $1,000 and the median price of the Xbox Series X was around $850. Both looked like they were declining a bit over the 1 week period I analyzed. Over the course of a day, the price was fairly stable, which surprised me. There wasn't much of a pattern. In this graph, we show the timing of completed sales. As you would expect, most sales occurred during the day and early evening. Here we have the percentage of sales that are auctioned. As you would expect, most auctions end during the day and early evening periods. Logically, buy it now fixed price transactions should have a premium over auction prices, and that is what we observe. For PS5, the premium was mid-single digits, and for Xbox Series X, it was low single digits. Despite the data that I collected, the overall market share in the Gen 9 cycle is probably about even so far in the US, unless Microsoft manufactured far fewer consoles. I saw more PS5 transactions, but a higher percentage of them were fraudulent or involved fake bidding. Also, there are more PS5 transactions on eBay, in part because it has attracted a disproportionate number of scalpers. Even when factoring in more scalper activity and fake bidding, the PS5's underlying market price is likely still higher than that of the Xbox Series X, given how large of a price difference there is on eBay. This suggests that Sony will continue its winning streak in terms of US market share in the Gen 9 cycle. Sony probably could have increased the retail price of the PS5 Digital Edition to about $450 from $400, given how small the price difference is between the disc and digital versions were on eBay. The Series S looks like it will be successful based on its number of listings, transactions, and pricing on eBay. The price premium of the Series S was in line with that of the Series X. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe.